The House of Representatives today passed a continuing resolution that would fund the government through the end of this fiscal year. The legislation leaving Obamacare, by the way, fully intact, despite a challenge from some conservatives who saw it as a perfect opportunity to defund the president's health care law. Our next guest has become a conservative hero after he took issue with President Obama's policies and, I think it's fair to say, his politics at last month's National Prayer Breakfast. In fact, his is now the hottest name in national politics, well, after perhaps President Obama and on a given day, perhaps Vice President Biden. He's the featured speaker at the Conservative Political Action Conference coming up in just about a week and a half. We're delighted to have join us now Dr. Ben Carson. He is the Director of Pediatric Neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins. Great to have you here.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Doctor, let's start with this. What is happening right now in Washington, D.C. First on the drones, Senator Paul's filibuster, the participation of a number of leading Republican senators, and Ron Wyden, Senator Wyden of Oregon.
Yeah, well, you know, it's very troubling that we can't get a simple answer, that no, we're not putting these things in the air to spy on our citizens or to kill them. Why is that a hard thing to say?
It seems that it is difficult often for this Attorney General to speak with direct language. I don't know if that's his legal training or his nature or just the politics of it all. But as we are watching what is transpiring here, there are more than 300 drones now, at the last report, in use over the United States of America. This is not an academic or, as Senator Paul put it,
and the plan is to expand that quite significantly.
To 10,000 over the course of the next 10 years. These issues have direct impact on who we are and how we live and who we've become.
Well, you know, what's really dramatic here is we're already, as a people, frightened to express ourselves. You know, political correctness has made us all into like little sheep who look around and say, can I say this? Mm-hmm. Now, if you got all these drones with missiles up there, what's going to happen to us? Right.
That would be more than a chilling effect in some instances. As a matter of fact, we've had a number of our viewers say Senator Paul had best be careful. You know, and I don't know to what degree that is fully an earnest concern, but it's expressed. Let's turn also to Obamacare. This was to be the moment in which conservatives gloriously defunded Obamacare. The continuing resolution has moved now from the House without so much as a mention of Obamacare. Right. What is your reaction?
Well, my reaction is we're all going to see what's coming up here in the next year. And the protests are going to be louder from the people, which is where it has to come from, as they begin to understand what's going on. Right now, they don't understand. And people purposely are not explaining things to them. The people who try to explain them to them are thought of as alarmist and people who are racist or some other ridiculous thing. But it's all going to come out in the wash. It's going to become very clear to people very soon.
The American people right now, the vote in November, clearly the president won. That's resolved, and now the focus has turned almost instantly to 2014, and the president's strategy, it is said, it is reported, is to take on the Republican Party and crush it in the midterm elections.
To try to make them look bad, you know, with the sequester, you know, no White House tours. If anybody looks bad, it makes him look bad. Yeah. Think about all these kids who've had their plans to go to the White House for 2 years now. All of a sudden, they can't go. The people who give the tours are volunteers. They're not even paid. It's all political.
It's political. It's mean-spirited as well. And the idea that $250 million, Secretary of State Kerry would deliver unto the Egyptians rather than keep the White House tour open for thousands upon thousands of Americans who want the opportunity to see the people's house. Yeah. This is, at the very least, unfortunate.
Right. I think most people wouldn't even 20 years ago have been able to imagine this scenario. But we've gradually moved into it, sort of like the frog in the saucepan where you gradually turn up the heat and they don't understand what's going on, and all of a sudden they're cooked.
Well, one of the places where the heat is being turned up, as you say, is on the president. His approval rating in the latest Reuters poll his approval rating dropping to 43%. Right now, as you and I are talking here, the president is meeting with 9 senators, 9 Republican senators. They're talking about immigration. They're talking about gun control. They're talking about budgets, taxes, tax reform, a grand bargain. Can you imagine anything that would make you more nervous when it comes to political process than 9 senators who have not been elected to the leadership in any way are sitting down with the president after the Republican leadership on Capitol Hill said they were going to go to regular order and everything will be in the open and the clear for the American people to watch?
Well, the one thing that's been clear for the last few years is nothing is open and public and apparent as it was supposed to be. And anytime you have these closed-door issues going on, I don't remember any situation where it turned out good. If it was going to be good, they would want you to see it.
Yeah, and it's intriguing to me that the Republican leadership has finally found its voice, expects to win in 2014, but is adopting some of the cloaked strategies, approaches, and practices of an administration that once said it would be open and transparent. That can't be helpful to them.
It can't be, and I wish they would. I wish they had access to the mail, the email, the calls that I've been getting since the National Prayer Breakfast. The response I get from people when I go in the airport, when I go in the train station. I mean, people are just coming up to me. So thank you for speaking out, sending gobs of money, wanting me to run for office. It's ridiculous, but it's because people want to hear truth. They want to hear common sense, and we don't seem to be getting any of that. And people are not as simple as some people think they are.
You and I,
but they're afraid.
I've agreed with everything you've said since the day I met you some time ago, until you said the idea of you running for office is ridiculous. Dr. Benjamin Carson, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.